Hello folks, sorry there was a bit of delay, not planned. I'm the only one between you and your lunch, so sorry for that again. But we will try to be crisp. Between the original slide and the thank you, there are only 2 slides, so you don't have to worry too much. Yeah? Better now? Okay? Hello? Can you hear me at the back? Okay, good. Thank you. So, now we'll finally start after this PPT fiasco and the sound fiasco. This is a very short 10 to 12 minutes. I will talk about some 10. You can't hear? They can't hear, gentlemen. Give me another one then. This is not working. This one? Is it better now? Ah, thank you. That's why entrepreneurship suffers a lot of problem in this country. Basic things not working at times. Okay, so again, coming to this point, this is a 12 minutes journey. I will try to cover around 10 things. I don't expect you to remember all of them. It's just not humanly possible to remember and act on any of these. But the main message that I want to give you here is that you need to unlearn. We need to unlearn a lot of things which we have gathered over a period of time, and that is the only way to move ahead. Yeah? Before we see that why we need to do this, we'll take a couple of examples from the nature itself. We all know this larva, before it becomes a butterfly, it has to crawl. It necessarily crawls, yeah? And just imagine if the butterflies were crawling, they will virtually be of no beauty sense. I mean, this whole thing will go down. Nature itself says that whatever you have learned so far, the crawling skill has to be let go and you have to learn to fly. We talk about human evolution and then we realize that, these hominid primates, great apes or whatever we call them, and they had this ability to jump across trees, move much faster and all that, but they could not understand. They were not bipedal like us. And over a couple of million years, now we have evolved into human and now we learn to walk, but what we forgot is how to jump across the trees. And this happens, this is natural. And that's what is the main message, that when we are unlearning, it's not something bad, it is not something you're going to miss something. It is basically a process of evolution, it is what is destined and it is what will make you successful necessarily. So that's the message that I'm saying. Let's talk about this. This photo is not very well known photograph, but here we are trying to indicate Prince Siddharth, the future Gautam Buddha. So he learned a lot of skill. He was learning archery, he was a horseman rider, he was accountant, he had mastered music, many of those skills. But before he wanted to attain wisdom, he had to let go of all of that skills completely. And he goes deep inside. People, while evolving, unlearn, and that is the fundamental premise of this short introduction that I want to give it to you. Yeah, this is natural, this is what is expected, and this is what we have to do. The problem is, in human, when we are leading one single life, it doesn't come naturally to us, so sometimes we have to remind ourselves that here we are to unlearn some of these things. So whatever has got you here, whatever got you inside the engineering college is not good enough to get you past the engineering college, and whatever is going you to pass the engineering college is not good enough to make you successful in your career, be it entrepreneurial or be it working in a product or a services setup or wherever you are going to go. So these things, whatever have got you here will not take you there. You will have to unlearn things, whatever have made you successful, and learn new things. I have been lucky enough to get educated from one of the premier institutes of technology institutes of India, IIT Kanpur, and when I went to, I used to work in a company named SAP. Most of you would have heard about this. I was there for many years, and then I realized that all of those skills, whatever I was learning in engineering, were of no use at all. I was trying to create a software which was dealing with the HR and payroll systems of multiple countries, extremely complex calculations, extremely complex scenarios, and none of those things will help me. I had to learn a lot of legal content of many countries. What happens when the taxation happens? A complete new learning. I had to leave software completely, and what I was eventually doing was reading thick documents. I had to virtually memorize the laws containing more than 6,000 pages if you stack it up, it will reach till here. So what I'm saying is, if we have to change, if we have to learn, if we have to come up, if we want to be successful, unlearning is the process. Whatever has got me to a certain point is not good enough to take me to the next point. So this is my premise of why. And now I will move on and give you examples of how you can do it when you take up the next steps in your career. Yes? When we are in engineering college, our friend in our branch is essentially a competitor these days. Most of the colleges have moved on, setups have moved on to what you call comparative relative scoring and all that. So if your friend is going to get less marks than you have a good chance of getting an A. Competition is the hallmark of studies. That's what typically happens when you are doing a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. The moment you move to a corporate or an entrepreneurial setup, you can Google anything. Every time is like an open book exam, all the time. Only thing is, you have to ask, you have to seek, you have to collaborate. Competition goes out of the window, collaboration is in. You are supposed to ask your team members. There is no one who better to support you than your boss, your manager, your colleagues, your friends, your juniors, anyone. You have to depend on all of them. Competition is not relevant anymore, collaboration is. And there is a big change. You are not prepared for that change. There is no course in your final year which tells you that, okay guys, now no more competition, it's only collaboration. This is not there. But you have to understand this. This is like your project work, only changes that not only you are doing project work with 4 or 5 of you, but the whole company that you have joined, the whole setup that you have joined, are trying to do a project together. When we are in the initial stages of formative stages of our career, when you are studying and all that stuff, we focus on the assignment. We focus on what is going to come next. We never look at how this fits into the big picture. I never did. And I never realized also that it's something important. But what corporate told me, and has what I have understood and what works is that, do you understand the big picture? Are you asking that question to yourself? Are you asking that what this small piece that I'm doing, how it fits into the overall big picture, what is the solution that is going to come out? It is not like a single question of a mechanics that you are trying to solve in the exam time. It is that if I solve this, if I fit this puzzle, what will be solved further? Will I be able to, using this technology, this methodology, will be able to send a Mars rover to Mars and who can do further expedition? So you have to understand that big picture, and that is again a change that you will have to, yes, I'm not saying that tasks are not important, but tasks are not the only important things, the big picture is. Simplicity versus complexity. This is very usual. I mean, I have suffered from this. I used to be very proud of myself when I wrote code which was like, what others could do it in 4 weeks, I could do it in 3 days, in 1/4 the line of size, and I tried to cover many more scenarios than what they did, and I was very proud of that myself. This was useless, because what I was trying to code is that last 5 or 10% of the scenarios, which got rarely used. It took a lot of energy, it took a lot of maintenance effort, and none of them is eventually useful. So if any one of us want to choose between complexity and simplicity, remember the 90-10 rule. Only 90% of the time, 10% of your code is going to be used. So when you create volume, and then there are many product companies who are creating volumes here, many setup, and what they have realized once they have done some analysis is that it's not working out. A lot of things that they have generated are rarely being used, rarely getting used. So this is something which needs to be understood, that if I have a choice, I will go for simplicity. Even if I'm going to set up a startup, even if I'm going to be entrepreneurial, let me not cover the whole gamut of scenarios. Let's concentrate on simplicity. That is what understood. That is what gets understood fast, gets sold fast. This is very interesting. This is a new thing, content versus the user experience. Content is complex. You have to do a lot of things there, and it takes time, it takes effort, and you think you have built something great, but what happens is when you are trying to give it to someone, that person is not able to use it because trying to implement that solution itself is complex. The way the users are doing it is complex, and then they don't see the value of it. So whenever you're trying to do something, if you're joining an organization or trying to set up your own organization, remember the thing that you have to focus on is user experience bit of it and not so much on content. I'm not saying content is not important, that is, but also give at least equal importance or slightly more importance to how the user is going to feel. Have you ever heard of Facebook Training Institute? There is none. And that's why it is so popular, more than 1 billion people using it, because it is so easy to use that unlike many other big softwares which need multiple weeks of trainings and all that, Facebook does not need any training. Google is the ultimate example of simplicity. Yeah? There is one box. The most used website has one single box. That's it. You type something in, it gives you a result. So this is what happens. Simplicity has to be there along with the user experience that you are talking about. The other day I was talking to some people in my setup in Hyderabad, and I asked them, what are you proud of? These were a few newcomers, and they said what they are proud is that they can use their .NET skills. Some said they could use their C++ skills, and that's what makes them happy and proud and all that stuff. But organization does not value you because of your pure technical skills. What they value you is for being a problem solver. Everyone, every senior person, everyone in their heart wants to kind of delegate some of their problems to someone. And if you emerge as a problem solver, you have a much bigger chance of a success than being a pure skill champion saying that I know A, B, C, D, E. That does not work. You have to think about a problem, you try to solve it, and even if you are not solving it completely, that's good enough. Your organization still loves you, and your startup or whatever still is much more beneficial. This is again something which I want to highlight. I mean, you people don't have much meetings when you're studying, I understand that, but still you have heard many jokes about corporate meetings. But barring the jokes, what I just want to give you one message is corporate has to, I mean, they have meetings. You cannot avoid them. So it's better to prepare. Each meeting is a negotiation. Every time when you're entering to meeting your boss, meeting your colleague, there is some kind of negotiation happening. You are wanting to understand what he wants from me and what I need to give and what is my next plan. If you don't prepare for meetings, trust me, it is a lot of challenges that you are going to face. This is very difficult to understand for you right now, but I want to give the message. Yeah. Usual thing, when the college recruiters come, they give you the salary letters, and then the parties begin in the respective hostels and all that, and the person who is supposed to give the biggest party is the person who got the highest salary and all that, and we think that money is the right thing to be chased. But if you start chasing money after some time, not only it becomes boring, but money stops chasing you. So it's always better to chase money, chase career. It takes a bit of focus. You have to continue in certain setup. It's possible to leave a company after 1.5 years and then go again, take a 20-25% jump, move again. But then what you're doing is essentially you're killing your career at times. Yes, you have to find your right fit. I'm not denying that. But chase should be for the career and not for the money. And when you're talking about career, let it be clear that it's a marathon. Careers are not made in 2 years or 1.5 years or 3 years. You can't say that that guy has moved there. You know, careers are made over a decade plus, couple of decades and all that stuff. That's what happens. So think on those lines. That is what is important. I have experienced these things. I have realized that, you know, by staying longer in a company, in a product setup, what kind of value it has been added to me, what kind of value I can give it to others, what kind of confidence that I bring to the table, and basically those are the values which is benefiting somebody else. And then if I have done it like a marathon, if I have achieved some career, money does follow. This is one message that I would like to give. Again, it is extremely typical, and I have seen this even now, even the latest crop of people that are joining our organization. What I have seen is that they prefer technology discussions rather than responsibility discussions. My idea will be to still, you are having a discussion with your manager, whenever you are not in office, don't worry about the money part. Don't worry about cross industry. This is what is going to work, because everyone wants to kind of keep the problem down so that they can make something. relate to this. I have seen problems happening in very early stages of career, organization throwing out people because of these things. So I'd just like to say that, not related to anything that you have done so far, but don't fall into that trap of somebody telling you that this is the forged medical bills and so it and you will be able to save taxes, and this is the forged rental scheme and then you will be able to save taxes. Don't do that. Yes, there's a bit of money, I'm not denying that, and you feel very strange. Till college, nobody bothered you about taxation, and stealing was fun, but now it is not. It is not. So this is just a simple message, does not relate to anything that you have seen so far, but just want to say that these are some of the things. I have number 10, there could be more. That's not important. What is important is that there are few things which we need to unlearn, which we have to let go, which we have to forget. We have to create that space where something can be done additional. There is this Hindi word or Sanskrit word called patrata. It's like vessel, shape of a vessel. If you put it reverse, you can't fill it up with anything. And if you put it up straight, and even if it is filled up, you can't fill anything more. Unless otherwise you empty this, it is not possible to fill it up with new knowledge. It is important to let yourself be vacant, let yourself unlearn things so that you can fill it up with new learnings, relearnings, and which will make you successful. Thank you guys, and thank you for time.